Imagine building a rocket so powerful that it literally redefines the history of space travel, yet so complex that even a tiny flaw can lead to a fiery disaster. Welcome to the world of SpaceX's Starship, a journey of groundbreaking achievements and lessons learned from the brink of failure. Today, we're diving deep with what went wrong with Starship Flight 7, what we learned, and some exciting new updates for Starship Flight 8. Stick around because the future of spaceflight is literally being written before our very eyes. So on January 16th, 2025, SpaceX launched Starship 7, which is the 7th test flight towards developing a truly interplanetary vehicle. Starship as a whole is made up of two parts, the first part being the Starship, where cargo is held and where astronauts and command modules will be. The top half of Starship is embedded with hexagonal heat shields and front-forward flaps for direction and navigation of the vehicle. The bottom half of Starship is the super heavy booster, which is powered by the thrust of 33 full-flow Raptor rocket engines. The super heavy booster, this thing is massive. It stands 232 feet tall, or about 71 meters, or about the size of a 20-story skyscraper. And SpaceX caught it. So the booster was caught before in SpaceX's Starship Flight 5, which they caught it on the first try of even having to attempt the booster catch, which is something that has never been done before in the entire history of spaceflight. Flight 6, however, the booster didn't have the right parameters to clear it for landing, so it did unfortunately crash into the Gulf of Mexico. But we did get it back, and it was caught for the second time on Starship Flight 7, which is absolutely incredible given that this thing is literally the size of a building. So upon the ascent, the upper stage did successfully fire all 6 of its Raptor engines and separate successfully from the booster. So all of that went well, and no issues were really found at that point in the timeline. But just when it seemed like everything was going to plan, disaster struck. Around 8.5 minutes into the flight, SpaceX lost all comms with Starship. At first, there was a lot of confusion as to what happened to the upper stage because all comms were lost. There was no data transmission from SpaceX's Starbase in Texas to Starship 7. That is until video evidence surfaced in the Caribbean, where you can actually see the streaks of debris, like a meteor shower, raining down onto the Earth. But that's not meteors, that is Starship. Having fully exploded and burning up in the atmosphere in this quite beautiful display of failure. I think that's a good way to put it. It was truly a beautiful failure. But nonetheless, this all confirmed that the vehicle still suffered a catastrophic mid-flight explosion. The funny part about this is that SpaceX didn't actually label this as an explosion. It labeled it as a rapid, unscheduled disassembly, which is just lingo for explosion. The reason why Starship 7 did end up exploding is that there was a fire in the aft or the back of the ship. This resulted in a loss of vehicle integrity, which allowed the flames to leak into places that they weren't supposed to, such as the oxygen tanks of the rocket engines. When fire meets oxygen, no more Starship. The failure wasn't entirely unexpected because there is a risk in trying new things on each of these Starship test flights. That's the reason why they're called test flights. Specifically, Starship 7 was testing stronger heat shields and larger fuel tanks and improved flight control systems. Larger fuel tanks means more fuel. More fuel means more things for the aft fire to blow up. That is a very, very simplified version of what happened, but just to give you a general gist of why this went down as it did. Flight 7 was also scheduled to release new Starlink satellites into the Starlink constellation, but unfortunately never got the chance to. Whenever there's an anomaly like this, the FFA or the Federal Aviation Administration usually is going to get involved, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're getting involved to understand the analytics behind the debris dispersion over the Caribbean, fire hazards, and whether SpaceX needs to make any additional changes to their design iterations before they can move forward with Flight 8 in February. As of this video, that is scheduled for February 28th, but that is just when the window opens. It is definitely weather dependent. So what's changing for Flight 8? The good news is that SpaceX is absolutely notorious for rapid iteration. They learn from failure after failure after failure to adapt, learn, and improve. Flight 8 will feature some key upgrades, including stronger fire prevention measures. To prevent fires from reaching essential areas, more barriers and firewalls will be implemented into the design of Starship. Improved leak detection systems. Sensors will be updated to stop and detect leaks before they happen. Reinforced engine compartments. The design of the entire engine firewall is being modified to prevent those hot gases from escaping to other important parts of the ship. And then finally, software upgrades for better control. Flight computers will receive improved software so that they can better handle emergencies like this. All these upgrades to Flight 8 aim to prevent another catastrophic failure and to further push the Starship program to full operational capability. Despite the setback, Starship still remains focused on the bigger picture, which is developing Starship to become the first operational interplanetary vehicle to send payloads and humans to Mars permanently. Flight 8 is just another step in that direction, and future flights will continue refining that vehicle's current design. Failure is just a part of progress, and Flight 7 is the perfect example of that. If Flight 8 goes well, we might be able to see orbital flights by the end of 2025, which is truly an exciting thing to think about when it comes to the fact that Starship has only done suborbital flights so far. SpaceX is pushing the boundaries of spaceflight forever like no one else, and Flight 8 is just another step towards the goal of interplanetary travel, and I am here to cover it all for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this breakdown, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.